Hello and welcome to Talkin Hearthstone, the podcast where, well, we talk about Hearthstone. I'm Tito Santana, and this is episode 5. First off, I want to say goodbye to Brandon Cole, who passed away this weekend. Better known as Superblindman, he was a real force for the community. His passion to make games more accessible to the sightless and sight-impaired community was very inspiring. I had a chance to talk with him on an early episode of Bread and Butter, so if you want to get to know more about him from his own mouth and what he was excited and passionate about, I think it's worth a listen, even if the audio may not be that great. It was early on in our process. I think it was around episode 23. I would definitely, if you want to hear just how passionate he was about bringing games to the sightless community, it's worth a listen. In fact, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this show. It might seem like a small thing, but he was just that inspiring, and he wanted to bring more content to the sightless community. And like I said, we do a little bit. That's kind of the end of the game. We could talk through a game, and not enough YouTube content or Twitch folks do that. So, I thought it was a good thing, and we're gonna miss him. He was a tremendous person. So, just the best way to remember him is keep accessibility in mind when you do things. Even when you post something like an image, I'm not great at this. I've been working on it. I'm working on it more. But if you place an image, adding alt text. That way on the people that are scrolling through can understand the joke or the meme or whatever it might be. So, rest in peace, Brandon. We will miss you. So now we have to transition to Hearthstone, of course, which is always awkward when something like this happens, but we have to do so nonetheless. Last season, I finished right around 2,500. I think it was 2,504, which for me is my second best finish ever, and is the third straight month I have improved my ending rank, so I'm hoping to keep that going. I also got my first spicy pretzel mustard in the form of a George Dragon deck. Turns out, having a board full of Divine Shield dragons with Wind Fury, pretty good. So we'll see how this month goes. I want to do better. I want to try to get to that 11 stars. I've done it once, and that was with Shadow Priest. I'm hoping to do it again. But now it's time to talk about the Mage cards from Perils of Paradise. Now, this is new to me to go through all the sets. We don't really do this on Bread and Butter. We talk about some cards, or we do it a certain way. In fact, this week on Bread and Butter, we talk about kind of how do you evaluate cards. So it's worth a listen. We had World 8 on, so please give that a listen if you want to kind of get an idea of how people evaluate cards. But we're going to talk about the Mage cards today, and like I said, I'm not going to go through every single card out there, but I'm talking generalities and talk about some of the cards that I'm kind of excited about. And this is a weird set because of the Taurus mechanic, right? So you're not just talking about the Mage cards, you're talking about how the Mage cards are going to affect, I forget which set uses Mage as their Taurus, but I also know that Mage, Taurus, and Paladin. So there's more to consider when you're looking at these deck building things. So I think a good place to start here is location. The location is a 3-mana, 3 durability card called Tide Pools, and the ability is discover a spell that costs 3 or less. After you cast the spell, and it doesn't have to be the spell you just discovered, reopen this. So this is going to possibly allow for some rapid fire casting, which might pair well with their drink called Seabreeze Chalice. This one is a 1-mana spell that deals 2 damage, randomly split amongst all enemies. That's enemies, not enemy minions. And as with all drinks, you get to cast it 3 times. So I can see you getting this down on 3 and then rapidly building up some spells and burning through your drink. Possibly clearing their board that early and doing some damage face. So I think there's a lot of potential there. I think a few of these cards can really potentially go into some of the existing spell mages, no minion spell mages. I like the spell Rising Waves. I think it's probably going to get underrated early on. It's a spell that is 3 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions. If none die, deal 2 more. If we're starting to see anything like Divine Shields and Paladin a lot more often, this clears the Divine Shields, and it also then follows up with more damage, kind of like Aftershocks. So I like this. I think it's something that could be very interesting, and it will go very well in conjunction with another spell that might see some play, not from this set. We'll talk about that in a minute. So There's also a lot of focus in this set on Big Spell Mage, which I am very excited about. Their spell Tsunami, which is actually the first signature spell. So they have it's a epic spell, but it's got a signature card for it too, and it looks really cool. This is 8 mana, summons 3 water elementals that attack random enemies. Seems pretty good. If there's also Surfalopod, which Battlecry, the next spell you draw is cast when drawn. So that could have some potential good there. And the Under the Sea, which is draw a different spell, so it won't draw another Under the Sea. Summon a random spell of that same cost. So this is one of those things that you often see in no minion mage is ways to generate minions, because you still want some board presence. So a lot of these things are interesting. The legendary of the spell, the non-Taurus legendary, is called King Tide, which is a 4-mana 4/4 that reads Battlecry. Both players' spells cost 5 until the end of your next turn. So you can play this on 4. Do not coin it, because then you can't play the 5-mana spell on turn 4. And not only will it be harder for your opponent to take their turn if they were planning on playing any spells, and it looks like some classes like Paladin might be relying on some spells in this meta, but it also means that your next turn, since it doesn't stop until the end of your next turn, you'll be able to cast one of these big spells. Now, there's a few different options there, but if you are using the Taurus in your deck, which is the Kyla Sand Sculptor, Raylisk Sand Sculptor. Her ability is after you cast a spell, summon a random 2-cost minion and give it Divine Shield. So obviously you can get an early board in the box if you pair it with like your drinks or something. But also, if you are playing the Paladin Taurus spell, that gives you access to the 10-mana spell called Sea Shanty, which summons 3 5/5 pirates. That costs 1 less for each spell you've cast on characters this game. Now, you probably haven't cast any spells, unless your deck's built a certain way, you haven't cast any spells on characters, like Seabreeze Chalice is random. It does not casting on a character. But you're getting this for 5 mana if you started with King Tide. So I think that there's a lot of potential there. Turn 5, 3 5/5s, that seems pretty strong. And that's one of the interesting things about how this Taurus is going to work, because the way it matches up, it feels like that the Taurus cards are, or the cards in a class now, are not only focused on their class, but also in the class that's touristing into them, and the class that is touristing, that they're touristing into. So it feels like that each kind of, it's not going to be samey either. Like the Sea Shanty spell has a lot of potential to go well in Paladin and Mage, but in different ways. So I'm excited to see how these kind of play out, and it's very interesting to see how they're trying to kind of get different value out of the same cards with this Taurus mechanic. So I'm pretty excited. So let's see how that goes. We're going to play a Spell Mage today, since we were talking about Mage. The key cards are, I would say, Light Show. You see a lot of Light Show in this, especially when you get that off of, you can copy it, you can get it off Stargazing, so you'll see some Light Show in here, but you'll also, the key card, and from what I understand, the card you want to mulligan for is Cosmic Keyboard. Spot the Difference is very strong. You want to be aggressive with the version we have. There's some burn at the back end with like Molten Rune, and you have Old School Fireball, but mainly you want to, be as aggressive as possible. So I've been trying to make my volume right for what we're doing, and it's been, the last few episodes, it's been a little too loud. I've lowered it a bit. So obviously any feedback on raise it up a little bit or whatnot, it's hard to find that right balance of the volume of the game, so that way folks that can't see what we're doing can get the cues off the game from the sound, but also not so loud that it's overpowering me talking, because obviously I'm trying to talk through things and it's hard. So we're going to start with the Spell Mage. And that's one of the things that impresses me about a lot of the folks that play these games with the accessibility options that also stream, like Tyler Knife and Super Blind Guy did. Superblindman, sorry, is they have the software that speaks to them as they're highlighting cards or as chat's coming in. There's so much going on, and my ADHD brain could not handle it.
My sorcery will prevail.
So we are facing a druid, and that's pretty much all we're going to see lately is druids. I think last night I played not 40 games. It had to have been like 30 games, and I saw almost nothing but druid. It was like 50% druid, maybe a little more. But we're seeing druid now. We have drawn a Frostbolt, an Elemental Companion, and a Light Show. I am looking for a Cosmic Keyboard, so I am tossing all of those. So we picked up a Light Show, a Cosmic Keyboard, and a Malfunction. So we're pretty happy with that. We don't really have anything on turn 1 outside of a Flame Geyser. So we'd probably mulligan for that if we already had a Cosmic Keyboard. We just drew a Primordial Glyph. Nothing we can do on this turn, so we're going to pass it. Right now we're playing at Diamond 5, by the way. They pass a turn, did nothing. We just drew a Heat Wave. We are going to play our Cosmic Keyboard and pass our turn. It looks like the game lapse might still get a little loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I'm looking at numbers. The clicks from highlighting things was fine, but our opponent just played Malfurion's Gift, which gave them a Wild Growth, which they coined out. So they are now at 3 mana. We are now at 3 mana, but we are feeling like there's going to be a Boomkin on the way. We drew a Reverberation, so we don't really have a lot to do here. We could Primordial Glyph, or we could Light Show. I don't hate Light Show. This might not be the right play, but I play Light Show now. It starts that counter going, and it generates me a 3/3. So we do that, and we pass the turn. They're at 26 health. We're at 30. This deck feels a little slower to talk about than previous decks. They just played a Splish Splash Whelp, which gives them an extra mana. And they then Hero Powered and attack my face. So we are now at 4 mana. We just drew an Elemental Companion, which is pretty good. I'm going to start with Primordial Glyph. We have Rewind, Stargazing, and Light Show. I think I like the Rewind because I can do that right now. Or actually, so I'm not going to do it yet. Although it doesn't really matter because I don't think that you get a 0 mana. The 0 manas do not actually trigger the Cosmic Keyboard. So we can pick from Glyph or Light Show. I'm going to pick Light Show. And then I'm going to Hero Power the Whelp and swing at the Druid with my 3/3. They are at 24 health. We are at 29 health. But unfortunately, they have a mana advantage. We're expecting to see a Doomkin, and there it is, a Doomkin right there. Doomkin has been very, very good in this meta and has been very strong. And it took a little while for it to kind of find its place, but it sure has. So we drew another Light Show. So we are all about the Light Shows right now. I could be a little more efficient and maybe cast Malfunction, but I don't mind just playing the Light Show here to get another 3/3. We're going to float a mana, but I think that's okay. It looks like 4 damage went to Malfurion, 2 went to the Boomkin. I'm just going to push my damage face and pass the turn. So they are at 15 health. We're at 29 health. They have a 3/2 Doomkin. We have a 3/3, a 2/2, and a 3/3. They're all those minions that were generated off of the weapon. Cosmic Creations, they're called. They just played Dorian, and they followed that up with a Frost Lotus Blossom, which was fully developed, and that draws 2 cards, gain 8 armor. So they just drew 4 cards because Dorian gives them a 1 mana copy of each. They just played a Summer Flower Child, which is going to draw 2 big minions, so we might be in some trouble here. They're going to Innervate. They play A&R. They refresh their mana crystals. Doing Druid things. And they play Ray Estraza. Not a bad turn 5 for them. Actually, that was turn 4 because we started and it is now turn 5. So that is their turn 4. So what do we want to do here? we can reverberations. And what am I reverbing, though? I could reverb the Dorian, and then... But I don't have any card draw right now, so that's not going to make a whole lot of sense. So I'm going to reverb A&R. And I am going to play the draw cards until my hand is full. And we drew... Oh, we had drawn a Frostbolt before. Now we have an Elemental Companion, a Malfunctioning Error, a Spot the Difference, a Flame Geyser, and another Malfunction. On this case, I'm going to just cast Malfunction first to see what we get. Hopefully we hit an A&R. Yeah, which we did. Alright, so we did some damage. We are going to swing our 3-3 and our 2-2 into the taunt. They still have Reyastraza at 8-6. The Nest, they have Dorian. We have 1 mana A&R and a 5-5 Timeless Ancient. Here comes Nomelia, a 1 mana Nomelia at that, which clears my A&R. They play a Starlight Whelp. And they follow with an Innervate. They're still at 9 mana, by the way.
I bestow these.
And here's the 9 mana A&R, which they will then refresh their mana crystals, get a 5-5 Ancient. This game is not looking like it's going to go well for us. But I never give up, unless I know that there's absolutely no way out. At least that's how I like to play. They just double forged. And they play a Gem Tosser, which clears my Ancient. And they swing into my face with Reyastraza and Puppet Master and their face. I am at 9 health. They have a full board. They have 26 health. So we are more or less, I think, dead. But let's see what we can do here. We can Light Show. We can manufacture. So draw 3 cards if your deck contains no minions. They cost 3 less. I don't think we have a whole lot we can do here. So I'm just going to manufacture error. We drew a Fireball. And we overburned a couple cards. But that's okay, because I think I was just surrendering anyway. We'll send the Fireball face, but we're going to concede, because that was a game that did not go so well for us in the end there. We're going to play one more, because it's pretty early and we have some more time. So let's go ahead and follow up, see if we can get a win. I'm now decked down to Diamond 5 1-star, but I've only been playing... I only made it to Diamond 5 last night before bed. I didn't get to bed until like 2 in the morning because I had to go pick up my family back at the airport, and then we came home and I wanted to let them get settled and sleep, so I played a few more games of Hearthstone, twist my arm. You know it's the next day when your watch is reminding you that you need to start standing again, if you have an iWatch. Alright, so we are facing a Demon Hunter. We drew a Void Scripture, a Cosmic Keyboard, a Primordial Glyph, and a Heat Wave. I don't particularly mind keeping most of this. I'm going to toss the Heat Wave. Actually, I'm going to toss the Void Scripture too, but I'm going to keep Primordial Glyph. I'm probably going to coin out Keyboard, and then we'll Primordial Glyph next turn. Well, that might change now that we have a Flame Geyser. So our mulligan was a Flame Geyser, we picked up a Malfunction, and we have the coin. This Demon Hunter just plays a Vicious Slither Spear, which, you know, as one does. We are going to Flame Geyser that minion. Put it down to 1 health. Worst case, we can Hero Power next turn if we really need to, or, say, perhaps Malfunction and clear their board if they play, say, like a Sock Puppet and another one of those fellows. That is such a strong card in this deck, Malfunction. So they play a Wayward Sage. They play another Slither Spear. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a full clear. So we're just going to play Malfunction. And we're going to pass the turn. Their board is clear. We're at 29 health. They're at 30 health. That's got to be a little demoralizing. They're going to Hero Power and attack my face. And they pass the turn. I'm going to use this opportunity to... we just drew... so I think I forgot. We now have drawn a molten rune, excuse me, the turn before. And we also have a frostbolt, which in this matchup is going to be really nice once they play their weapon. I'm going to Cosmic Keyboard here. And then I'm going to coin out a Primordial Glyph. And we got buy one, get one freeze, Stargazing, or Volume Up. This is an interesting choice. I think we'll take Volume Up. My first thought was buy one, get one freeze. But yeah, Volume Up is probably the right play. So we get the... it only costs 2 mana. We get the Finale next turn and get a copy of a spell. Alright, so they just played a Window Shopper. For full price, or for... they coined out a Window Shopper. Oh, did they? No, why is there Window Shopper for? Oh, they got it from the Outcast. The Wayward Sage reduces cost by 1. Okay, that makes more sense. They give it through Fell and Flames, and they swing into my minion, so they're now at a 7/4. That kind of is a bummer compared to what we wanted to do. So what are we doing here? I could play out the Stargazing first, see if we can get a light show. We drew a Primordial Glyph. Do I just suck up the 7 damage and play the Volume Up? I think I do. So I Volume Up. We pick up 2 Fireballs and a light show. I don't hate keeping the light show because it's cheaper, although the Fireballs are pretty nice. So we currently have 9 cards in hand, lots of spells. All of them are damage spells. They have a 7/4. They're at 30 health. We're at 28. We have 2 2/2s on the board. They have 5 mana. They're thinking about their turn.
I'm the perfect toy.
They play the small Window Shopper, which I need to do today because I have the mini quest, so I'll probably... well, my Paladin deck that I play a lot has minis in it with the plushies. Oh, and they're tough crowding their mini. Returning it to their hand so they can play it again.
I'm the perfect toy for you.
They're probably looking for Mag Therodon, as one does. They're emoting because I must have done something. Speaking of standing, my watch just told me it is time to stand, but we're going to wait till we're done with this episode.
Time grows short.
They play a Gibbering Reject. After your hero attacks, summon another Gibbering Reject. They swing at my face, I believe, with the 7/4. Yep, and their face, so I am at 20 health. They're at 30. They have a couple Gibbering Rejects. We just drew a Heat Wave, which is actually not so bad. So we're going to play the Heat Wave first, see what we hit. We hit everything except, well, the 7/2 is still alive and the 3/1 is still alive, so we have a full clear here. So, but how do we want to do this? We have a light show, so I'm going to play the light show first. And that goes face and clears the Gibbering. We're going to clear the 7/2 with one of our 2/2s, go face, and pass the turn. They're at 24 health. We're at 20. We have a 2/2. Their board is clear. And I feel like we have a decent amount of control and burn here. So they play an Illidari Inquisitor and a Sock Puppet Slither Spear. They swing their 6/5 into my 2/2. And then they hero power, and they're going to go face. As one does. So we are now at 13 health because Green Rag just hit us in the face as well. We have some options here. We just drew a Frostlish Cross Stitch, which we're going to use on the Illidari Inquisitor. What I like here is, honestly, I'm just going to clear the board. I'm going to Frostlish Cross Stitch the 6/3. And I know I could freeze their face, but I'm gonna Frostbolt the 1/3 because Sock Puppet really has the opportunity to get out of control if they have the ability to build up their attack. In fact, I find it more dangerous than the Vicious Slither Spear in this particular deck. So I like this. Now we're threatening 6/3 to freeze their face. Yes, we're at 13 health, they're at 24, but I don't feel like we're at that bad of a disadvantage. until they play their Titan, which they did. So their Titan is Argus the Emerald Star, which minions to the left of this have Rush, and the ones to the right have Lifesteal. Normally they're probably going to play the ability that generates 2 demons on each side, but it's hard to tell for sure. Now, one nice thing to remember is about Titans, if you freeze them, then they cannot use their abilities. The other thing to remember is they technically have either Rush or Charge. So if you have one of those minions that gets put dormant, even if it's used all its abilities, you may still be able to attack. I'm pretty sure it's Charge, actually. I had that happen in a game against Painlock where they sheriffed my Paladin Titan, but I was able to use it to attack and buff it. Alright, so they use their ability to discover a Death Rattle card. It costs 3 less. So what do we like here? We have 7 mana, we drew a Cosmic Keyboard. I don't mind playing the Cosmic Keyboard first. That leaves us with 5 mana. I am going to Primordial Glyph, see what I discover. We have Counterspell. Oh, buy one, get one freeze. That seems pretty good in this situation. So that draws me a 2/2. I'm going to buy one, get one freeze their Titan, which generates a 1/1, which is fine. I have 2 mana left. I'm going to forge my Molten Rune, and I'm going to push my 3/6 face, which puts them down at 21 health, and we're going to pass the turn. So they're at 21 health. They have their Frozen Titan. We have a 3/6, a 2/2, a 5/9 Titan, and a 1/1 with Lifesteal. We also have 1 extra tick on our keyboard, but we're only at 13 health. But we've made things a bit more difficult for them, given that everything's frozen, and they're not going to be able to swing. And we have some burn, and we have some ability to deal with things. Worst case, I can always freeze the Titan again if I'd rather do that, but we also have the Molten Rune, which is 6, 12. We can do 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18. We're getting close to lethal here. They start off with Illidari Studies. And they Workshop Mishap my 2/2, which does damage to both those minions. Oh, so what does it do? It wasn't deals 5 damage to a minion, excess damage, both neighbors, outcast gain lifesteal. So they are back to 29 health. They also just played Pazik, the audio engineer, so I now have 2 audio bots on hand, and they played a Greedy Partner, which generated a coin, so they have something 2 mana. They played the Greedy Partner to the left, so it had Rush. So now we're still in kind of trouble here. I don't particularly hate. I'm going to start off, and I'm going to use the ability to reduce all minions, so that doesn't really help. I'm going to cast the army, so summon 2 4/4 elementals with taunt. So I have 2 with Rush, 2 with taunt. I'm going to run one of the 2/2s into their Greedy Partner, killing it. I am then going to, let me see, how do I want to do this here? 3, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to run the Frost Lich into the Argus so they can't use it again next turn. We can Fireball it next turn if we want to, or if that makes sense. I'm not necessarily worried about them getting the audio bots. So I'm going to Molten Rune to the face. Actually, hold on, let me check my hand space. 9, 8, yeah, I have enough to do that. I'm going to Molten Rune to their face. Ooh, excellent. I got a Frostbolt and I got a Shadow Step, so I'm going to freeze their face, and I'm going to swing with my 2/2. I can't. I'm just going to play a Light Show, and I'll... Yep, there we go. So we killed the Pazik. They got their 2 audio bots. So they have a 5/4 Titan that's frozen. They have a... their heroes at 20 and frozen. They have 2 audio bots that are 3/3 with lifesteal because they're on the right side of their Titan. We have a 2/2, a 5/6 Titan, a 2/2, a 2/2, and a 3/3, but we do have a Shadow Step, so that feels kind of nice. They just played Spirit of the Teams, but they're not going to be able to do anything with it because they are frozen. They hero power anyway, and then they play Going Down Swinging, so even though they can't swing after that, I don't think they can swing after that. It clears my board outside of 5-1 for the Titan. So good play for them.
Time grows short.
Oh, and they just pushed their audio bot's face. Look at that. How much is Argus? Argus is 7. We have 9. Alright, so what are we doing here? I think first we'll use Argus's ability and we'll reduce the cost of all minions in my hand by 1. That doesn't really make sense because, I mean, I guess it does, because what else are we going to do, right?
The future is built on our foundations.
I can't play that.
Yeah, we can't play the thing. So I could Argus again. I could bring Argus to my hand and play it again for 2 less. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to Shadow Step Argus. We're going to play it again. We're going to summon 4 2/2 elementals with taunt. Again. I'm going to play out the Flame Elemental to the left because it'll give it lifesteal. I'm going to run my 2/2s on the left into their Argus so they no longer have that ability. And then I'm just gonna... So I have the ability to either Elemental Companion, Fireball, Flame Geyser. I'm going to Light Show. Oh, and I hit mostly their face, and I hit their Spirit of the Teams, but nothing died. So I also then just played Flame Geyser and hit him in the face. So we're likely dead here. We have a 5/9, 2 2/2s with Taunt and Lifesteal. 1/2 with Lifesteal, and they have their Spirit of the Team and 2 Audio Bots. So they have 8 damage represented right off the bat. They just have to get through my 2 taunts and do an extra 4 damage since they have Lifesteal, unless they clear it without actually doing damage. They start off with Oasis Outlaws, which is Discover a Naga. If you've played a Naga while holding this, reduce its cost by 1. My guess is that they are playing the Naga version of this deck, and they just have not drawn a Sharpshooter yet, which I'm okay with.
Time grows short.
They're running out of time. They're looking at their Naga. They're still trying to discover which Naga they want. They finally have chosen. They have 10 mana left. They swing their 2 Audio Bots into my 2/2s. They Hero Power, and they swing face. All right. So we have Stargazing. So we're gonna play the Stargazing first. We drew a Malfunction, which works out very nicely. We're going to play our Malfunction. What else can we do here? I'm going to look for a Death Rattle minion. I'm going to just cost 3 left using the Hero Power there. I'm going to look for something with Taunt. So we have our choices of Sylvanas, Windrunner, Thunderbringer, and Tram Mechanic. We are going with Thunderbringer. We are going to put that on the right side of it so it has Lifesteal. I'm going to swing, and I'm going to play the Flame Elemental also to the right side of it. So they have 3 cards in hand. They have 17 health. We have 3 cards in hand, 2 being Fireballs, 1 being an Elemental Companion. We have a 5/9 Titan. We have 6/6 Thunderbringer, and 2 1/2s with nothing outside. All 3 on the minions on the right side have Lifesteal.
I'm not throwing away my shot.
They found a Blind Eye Sharpshooter, so they play that. They're going to put Bellfire and Flames on it to do 2 damage. They play Parched Desperado, which does 2 damage to one of my 1/2s, killing it. They play their Coin, which does 2 damage to the Thunderbringer.
My wool itches.
They play Sock Puppet Slither Spear, which does 2 damage to Argus. They play Burning Heart on my Thunderbringer, which then does 2 damage to the Thunderbringer. Ooh, did they get enough here? They play Wayward Sage, which does 2 damage to my face. They have 6 damage. They have, momentum, and they win. And that did 2 more damage to my face. So they have 10 damage just going face. They Hero Power for good measure. And they swing into my face, thus killing me. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? Well, follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Tito Santana HS. You can. I want to shout out to Elseworld, who was in my chat all week, who won our bundle in our giveaway, and also special thanks again to Blizzard and Amberflake Gaming. And thank you everybody who stopped by last week in my stream. It was an absolute blast, and shout out to Judge, who co-streamed with me on Friday night, and we did some Join Arena. It was a heck of a lot of fun. But remember, just be good to each other. And I guess I'm done talking. Have a great day.